I want to welcome you back to Black Site Tonight. I want to talk about Coach Deion Sanders of Jackson State leaving to go to the University of Colorado. First, I would like for you to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button, but also comment on this video. Head coach, Hall of Famer, and one of the greatest football players of all time is leaving a predominantly black institution, Jackson State, which this year they are 12-0, SWAC champions, and have one final game against the MEAC champions. He's leaving to go to Boulder, Colorado, and be the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. To me, this is extremely sad because Deion Sanders lifted the SWAC conference. He lifted black college football, and he put emphasis on HBCUs. And to see him go to a predominantly white institution and build that program is sad to see. I wish one day that one of the predominantly black institutions, if it's Jackson State, Grambling, Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, will one day become a Division I school. That means they will be able to play Alabama, Michigan, Georgia. But it seems like it may never happen because of the financial situation at those institutions. He goes to another predominantly white institution, a state institution. The Colorado Buffaloes are a poor football team, and Deion Sanders has the credibility with so many young black men across the country is that he will make that a competitive school, maybe a championship school. But I want to talk about our institutions and why we don't have the money, why we don't have the resources to be a Alabama, to be a Georgia, to be a Michigan, to be a Ohio State. All those schools are predominantly have black men leading those football teams. Can you imagine if Jackson State said we were going to Division I and they had the money to build the stadiums and have the facilities to house the best black players in football? There's no way Alabama will be the best team, or Georgia. It would be Jackson State. But this tells us another thing, that we must invest in our own institutions. We don't do it. Yes, I know our income in our community is probably the worst. It is the worst. The racial wealth gap in our community between black, white, Asian, and whatever else you can think of, we're at the bottom. But we spend money on what we love. We spend money on cars, clothes, but we don't spend money on our educational institutions. And now we see another one of our excellent coaches going to a white institution. He built up Jackson State. Jackson State probably, since Deion got there 2 or 3 years ago, has probably gotten more money, more stature than any time in its history. That's what a coach can do to you. That's what Nick Saban did for Alabama. Yes, and Alabama has always been there because they had Papa Bryant. But a good coach, excellent football team, brings money to the institution. It brings more students to the institution. And it gives the institution more status. But now he's going to give that to the University of Colorado because they can offer him $5 million a year. They can offer him the best facilities, first class accommodations. And Deion knew that he could never get that at Jackson State. He's going to take a majority of those players are going into the portal, and a majority of those players are going to leave Jackson State. And they're going to go to the University of Colorado, including his son, Shador. They're all going. He's going to take all the best players and add them on to Colorado in his recruiting, and he's going to bring more players in from the portal. Deion Sanders has so much influence. His personality, his style, his presence, and what he teaches black men. He's going to get a majority of these guys that's out here. And that builds up the University of Colorado. Now, where's Jackson State? They're back to being just another HBCU. Their revenue is going to go down. Their status on TV is going to go down. You just don't know how much he did for the SWAC conference, HBCUs, and black college football. And it's all gone within 2 years. Because we don't have the resources to keep Deion Sanders. To me, this is something big. Because why do we always have to lose ours to white institutions? Maybe the SWAC or school should have came together and said, hey man, we got to pay Deion. We got to keep this ball rolling. But it's all over. It's gone. Just another casualty of us not having wealth in our community. Now Colorado gets to enjoy the success of Deion Sanders after he done got his feet wet at Jackson State. I want to thank you for listening to Black Site. I didn't want to put this sports on here. I hope you subscribe to this channel. Smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel, excuse me.